As much time as I may consume.
Gentleman's recognized.
It is my honor to present the Fiscal Year 2012 Appropriation Bill for the Department of Homeland Security.
Distinguished Chairman of the Appropriations Committee is absolutely right. The House is not in order. Will take their seats and with discussions retire to the cloakroom. Gentleman from Alabama.
Thank you. It is my honor to present the Fiscal Year 2012 Appropriations Bill for the Department of Homeland Security. This bill before us today, perhaps more than any other bill, exemplifies the difficult choices that need to be made in order to address our nation's fiscal crisis. This bill demonstrates how we can fully fund vital security programs while also reducing spending overall. Furthermore, this bill does not represent a false choice between fiscal responsibility and security. Both are national security priorities, and both are vigorously addressed in this bill. I'm under no illusion that everyone here in this chamber will agree with the spending reductions included in this legislation. But now, more than ever, our government needs fiscal discipline, and this bill takes the necessary steps toward that goal. The bottom line, more money and more government do not equal more security. So in this time of skyrocketing debt and persistent threats, we must get our homeland security priorities right. The bill before us today provides $40.6 billion in discretionary funding, or almost $3 billion, which is 7% below the request, and $1.1 billion, or almost 3% below the FY11 level. In addition, the bill also includes $1 billion in offset emergency supplemental funding for FEMA's Disaster Relief Fund immediately upon enactment. There are no earmarks that are set out in this bill or the accompanying report. The bill places priority on funding our nation's greatest security needs, fully funding all frontline personnel such as Border Security, CBP officers, ICE officers, Coast Guard military personnel, and Secret Service agents, and fully funding all intelligence, watch listing, and threats targeting functions. In addition, the bill provides funding where the administration and the Department of Homeland Security have failed. This bill makes up for nearly $650 million shortfall handed us by the Department through phony, unauthorized fee collections. It is irresponsible for the administration to submit a budget based on an illusion that Congress is going to raise taxes or fees under the current economy. This bill also addresses the wholly inadequate request for disaster relief funding and provides the resources to help our communities recover from natural disasters, like the unprecedented flooding across the Mississippi Valley, the tornadoes that had devastated my home state of Alabama a few weeks ago, and of course the horrific tornado that destroyed much of Joplin, Missouri just a little over a week ago. However, programs that have been underperforming and failing to execute their budgets, or which have repeatedly ignored congressional directives to measure the results, are significantly reduced. In short, this bill places a priority on the taxpayers' limited dollars toward the security programs that will have an immediate impact upon our national security and responsibly reduces spending wherever possible. The bill is constructed around three core principles. Number one, fiscal discipline. Number two, targeted investments in security operations and disaster relief. And number three, meaningful, hard-hitting oversight. First, on fiscal discipline. The bill goes further than simply cutting spending. This bill insists upon real reform. Reform in how the department justifies its budget, reform on how FEMA manages first responder grants, and reform on how FEMA, the department, and the administration budget for the cost of disaster relief. Number two, on security, the bill includes nearly $150 million worth of targeted investments above the budget request for security operations. The frontline programs that are among the most critical at keeping our nation secure, and these activities that directly countered recent terrorist attacks and address known threats. On disaster relief, I have seen firsthand of what natural disasters can do over the past few weeks, and I can tell you that my constituents in Alabama are expecting FEMA to get it right. So this bill picks up from where we left off in FY 11 and provides an increase of $850 million above the request and within the budget for FEMA's Disaster Relief Fund to address the known and expected cost of disasters in FY 2012. And as we added unanimously in our full committee markup of the bill last week, we added $1 billion in offset emergency supplemental funding is provided to FEMA to ensure that disaster relief efforts stay on track this year and well into 2012. And 3, finally, oversight. Our subcommittee has a long tradition of insisting upon results for each and every taxpayer dollar that is appropriated. This is a testament to the previous leadership on this subcommittee that was exhibited by our founding chairman of this subcommittee, Chairman Rogers, and also my predecessor and now the ranking subcommittee ranking member, Mr. Price. This bill continues the dedication to frontline security programs and robust oversight by including numerous spend plan requirements, reporting requirements, and operational requirements such as Border Patrol staffing levels and increase to ICE's detention capacity. Now, I know there have been some criticism on the funding level this bill is for recommending for FEMA's first responder grants. Let me emphasize that there is more than $13 billion in the pipeline that has not been spent. But FEMA has yet to establish a credible method for measuring the impact of these grants. So this bill takes bold steps to get FEMA's fiscal house in order, requiring accountability for every dollar spent, requiring a plan for drawing down the enormous unexpended balances, and consolidating duplicative grant programs, putting priority on high-risk needs, rewarding programs like the Emergency Management Performance Grants that actually spend their funds wisely and are willing to measure their results. I know how important first responders are to this nation. We see it every day. But we simply cannot keep on throwing money into a clogged pipeline when our debt is soaring out of control. I believe it's our duty to reform these grant programs. Mr. Chairman, this bill is about putting a priority on limited dollars and robustly supporting the most essential functions. The Department of Homeland Security, with all its critical missions, is not immune from physical discipline. That means the Department has to find the most cost-effective way to meet its mission requirements. The American people are demanding no less. In closing, let me thank Ranking Member Price. Although we have certainly had a turbulent year, he has been a statesman and a true partner as we worked on this vital bill. I sincerely thank him for his input and his contributions that he has made on this bill. In addition, I'd like to thank the distinguished chairman and ranking members of the full committee, Chairman Hal Rogers and Ranking Member Norm Dix. As much as we have had to make difficult choices and trade-offs at subcommittee level, I know that both of these gentlemen have had to make much more difficult decisions dealing with all 12 subcommittee budgets. Finally, I'd like to take a moment to thank the committee staff for their hard work on this bill, namely Stephanie Gupta and Paul Cox on the minority staff, Jeff Ashford, Chris Mallard, Kathy Kraninger, Miles Taylor, Rebecca Orr, Brian Rail, Mark Dawson, Anne Marie Malika, and Bill and Ben Nicholson, who is the clerk of this committee on the majority side. I believe this bill reflects our best efforts to address our nation's most urgent needs, security and physical discipline. I urge my colleagues to support this measure, and I reserve the balance of my time.